This episode of the All About Nothing podcast is sponsored by listeners like you and Big Media LLC, encouraging you to check your voter registration. In a world where every voice counts, ensuring your registration is accurate and up to date is the simplest, most effective way to guarantee your vote is heard. Don't leave your participation to chance. Take a moment today and verify your status and stay ready for the next election by visiting theallaboutnothing.com/voter.
Hi, it's me from the Welcome to Wonderland podcast. Are you looking for the perfect blend of nostalgia and patriotism in your wardrobe? Look no further than ZJZ Designs, available now at zjzdesigns.com. Their exclusive t-shirt collection features stunning designs like the iconic Plymouth Barracuda print, taking you back to the golden era of muscle cars. Show your love for your country with their bold patriotic heart designs that stand out and make a statement. From car enthusiast to proud patriot, ZJZ Designs has something special just for you. Head to ZJZ Designs and elevate your style. Visit zjzdesigns.com or check the show notes.
All right, welcome everyone to the All About Nothing podcast, kind of daily show. I am Barrett Gruber, host of the All About Nothing podcast. You can find me across all social media at Barrett Gruber. With me is Brock. You can follow him on social media through what? You want to say the Comic-Con podcast? The Comic-Con?
Man, I don't even know how to use half the social media. So like us on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Soda City Comic Con, facebook.com The Coastal Comic Con, and facebook.com Boardwalk Comic Con. Any of those work.
Any of those. All right. If you want to participate in the show, you can chat with us on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook. You can find the links at the top of our webpage, theallaboutnothing.com. Please follow and subscribe wherever it is you are hearing us. And, I told you earlier Instagram. Well, guess what? I didn't set Instagram up before the episode, so not on Instagram tonight. That's my bad.
Oh,
look,
man,
it had been literal months since I'd been doing the go in live thing, and you lose some of the process, especially with old age and whatnot. Speaking of old age, we lost Senator Graham over the weekend.
I don't think he got lost. I think they found him.
Well,
not in very good condition. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
No,
still unfortunate.
Yeah, and I think first thing I want to say that I didn't agree with Lindsey Graham on a number of things, whether it was his stance on the LGBTQ plus community or how he turned against Donald Trump only to then very quickly come back to him very quickly. But I think that it is important to note that for the state of South Carolina and for the United States, I think that he was a statesman. I do think that the state of South Carolina benefited in a number of ways from him being the senator. And ultimately, I don't ever want to be the type of person that besmudges someone, if that's a word. I think it is. Besmudges someone after their passing, because there's no benefit to it. I don't think it really does anything for anyone or anything like that. I think that the likelihood is that, and I've seen a lot of people, making fun of him or poking at him, that sort of thing. I think that is not constructive when it comes to the passing of someone who has been someone that has sacrificed a good portion of their life for the United States. I can certainly acknowledge. I mean, he was he was a JAG officer. Or he was Air Force JAG Corps from '82 until really he became a politician, which was he was a state house representative in '92, and then I think U.S. House from '94 to 2002, and then he succeeded Strom Thurmond and was elected 4 times to the Senate. Member of the Judiciary Committee, the Budget Committee. He was a public servant for many, many years. And I think that anyone that looks at that service and says that he didn't do those things, or that there wasn't some value to what he did, then I think they're taking away from it. But again, I disagreed with him on a lot of the social issues that he seemed to play up for the Republican Party when it was convenient. He was all about stopping abortions. He didn't want there to be gay marriage, So these are things I think that were detrimental to a lot of people. They didn't affect me, but they affected friends. The information about his death was that he had suffered an aortic dissection due to, and I can't even pronounce this word, but basically something related to cardiovascular disease. The 911 call was for cardiac arrest. They did administer CPR, and I spoke with a friend who is a cardiovascular surgeon, which I think is the technical term for what she does. But it turns out that what Lindsey Graham suffered from and what he probably felt when it happened was easily one of the most painful things that someone could go through at the end of their life. It was described as basically like the eruption of Mount St. Helen inside your chest. So it sounds awful, and ultimately, like or dislike him or whatever, I don't think anyone would want to wish something like that on anybody. So, the news then broke this evening that Governor McMaster's has appointed Lindsey's sister to replace him. And I don't think there's anything wrong with Lindsey's sister. We've had in the history of the United States, senators and representatives have passed away, and either their spouse or whomever did wind up stepping in or was appointed to step in against or for that position until the remainder of that term. So Graham's sister, she's helped raise, or she has assisted with disabled people getting jobs and schooling and things like that. I think she was on the National Council of State Agencies for the Blind. She's helped with South Carolina Workforce Development Board. She was a commissioner for the South Carolina Commission for the Blind. So she may not be a politician, but at least it sounds like she's done a lot of really good things. Or her life has obviously been at the service of disabled people. So I give her credit for that. I think I don't think there's anything wrong with Lindsey Graham's sister being the replacement. So the only thing I think that was wrong that I find an issue with it is that there were several names that were pitched as potential appointments to the position. One of them being our former governor, Nikki Haley. Another one being Pamela Abbott. And then another one being Nancy Mace. But when Donald Trump, I guess, came out of the shadows this morning, he said that he believed that Lindsey's sister should be the best appointment. And I'm out of those three, her being a fourth, I think I agree with Donald Trump on this one. I think that was an appropriate move.
Well, it just begs the question, were there conversations had prior to him making that announcement? I don't know if it was on Truth Social or wherever, and the answer is more than likely yes. Yeah. So it wasn't. I don't think it was some sort of Hail Mary. Let's see if we can get Graham's sister kind of put through. I think he probably called up McMaster and said, "Hey, here's a good idea. What do you think about it?" McMaster's probably like, in true McMaster fashion, in my opinion, sure, whatever you want, sir. And so, yeah, I mean, you're picking someone who's not going to run for that seat. At least I don't suspect she will run for that seat. And so, it also gives the Republican, the party, and the candidate pool, they all start from a level playing field. Because let's just be real, if Trump had come out and said, "I think you should," let's just say he were to say, of the three you named, Yvette, Mace, and Haley, only one of the three is probably in his good graces right now, and that would be Yvette. And if he came out and said, "Yep, you should appoint Yvette," that's going to give her a head start because she could very well run for that seat. Mace very well may run for that seat. I do expect Nikki Haley to run for that seat. Ralph Norman could very well run for that seat. I mean, a couple of high-profile Republicans in the state that lost out in the governor's race could very well run for that seat. And there may be a dark horse somewhere that comes out of the woodwork and surprises everybody. But I'll at least give them credit for kind of putting in somebody who's neutral, and I don't see her running for that seat. I just don't.
Yeah.
But for the first time, in a long time, we actually have an open Senate seat. So it'll be very interesting to see where Annie Andrews and her campaign goes from here, especially now that they don't really know who their opponent's going to be. And quite frankly, they really don't have a whole lot of time to prepare for whoever ultimately wins the nomination. So I think you just have to run what's good for South Carolina, the kind of the goose v. gander scenario, and hope that it holds up. And, Graham's performance in the primary wasn't overly, wow, didn't have that wow factor. I think he got 58% of the vote, which, he won outright, but usually he would cruise to 75, 78, 80% vote in the primary.
Especially in the primary.
So there were a few chinks in the armor. Does that help the next nominee? Because they're not Lindsey Graham. And let's just face it, the last, since 2016 or so, he was somewhat of a polarizing figure. He told us exactly who Donald Trump was when they were running for president in 2016. And lo and behold, well, that kind of came to pass. But then, the flip side is, for lack of a better word, he bent the knee. And so, which, I don't know. I'm not in his situation. I don't know what I would have done if faced the same choice. But I always say a politician's first job is to get reelected. Their second job is to get reelected. And then their third job is to serve.
Yeah.
So, was it more of a, I've got to sustain my political power? And he was a very senior member in the U.S. Senate. And people would be remiss to think that he didn't play a hand in BMW coming to the upstate. Certainly, with him being a congressman from, I believe, what was it, the 4th congressional or 5th congressional district? I don't think it was the 5th.
It was the 3rd.
3rd. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then he certainly had a hand in BMW coming to the upstate. He had a hand in Volvo and Boeing. Quite sure he had plays in that. He might have even had a play in Scout. I don't really know. Haven't heard about that. But to get major manufacturers, multi-billion-dollar manufacturers moving into your state, you pretty much have to have your state's delegation all on board. And he, being the most senior member of all of them, was probably leading the charge. So, I have a lot of respect for him in that regard. I don't agree with a lot of things he said and a lot of positions he's taken over the years. But, that's why we can agree to disagree on what makes this country great. Because I don't have to agree with what he thinks. And he wouldn't have to agree with what I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I think some of the sentiments from people. I mean, Governor Masters, of course, called him that he said that he was replaceable. Well, we shall not see his likes again. I gotta say this about Governor McMaster's. I don't understand why he goes to Victorian speech sometimes. I don't know if he's channeling or if he really is just that fucking old that he can't speak to us normal. But Bush came out, said understood that Graham understood how the world works, and he was kind and a funny man, which I think was pretty good. Senate Majority Leader John Thune said that he was a strong advocate for the U.S., strong ally to freedom-loving countries. And ultimately, I think that one of the things that stands out, and again, don't necessarily agree with everything politically about Lindsey Graham, but one of the things he did sort of do was keep Donald Trump on track in keeping us on the right side of the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. As much as Donald Trump would love to just bend the knee to Putin and basically stop any funding or any helping out with Ukraine's battle and fight against Russia, I got to acknowledge that Graham was probably one of the reasons that we hadn't given in and that we hadn't just let Putin make a run through, because ultimately Putin gets Ukraine, he's going for Poland. That's the next natural progression of that fight, is that Putin wants Poland. So in the end, I think that it's okay for people to still have their disagreements about how they felt, or not disagreements, but I think it's perfectly fine for people to feel the way they did about Lindsey Graham. I think that to use those opinions to attack, his lateness now, is probably not quite as appropriate, but fuck, I'm not going to stand in the way of somebody's First Amendment rights. If they want to say something about him, then say it about him. I've seen plenty of videos. I still think one of the things that was funny was apparently Tim Scott's reaction to now being the senior citizen, or the senior senator from South Carolina. Citizen. I am the senior citizen. I'm probably about Tim Scott's age. I don't know how old he is. But he seemed very pleased with himself to now be the senior citizen, or senior. Fuck, I did it again. The senior senator from the state of South Carolina. That seemed to entertain him. And as far as what's going to happen with this election, I talk about this often, but I do run a precinct, or whatever precinct they send me to for the elections, and this time around I'll be as a IT rover, so I'll be one of the people that goes around and makes sure that all the equipment's working and taking calls to fix things when they aren't. But I was talking to the people that run the Lexington Election Commission, and they don't have a firm on what the expectation is for what will now be a new primary for the GOP, what the date is going to be. I know that the speculation is that based on state law 37190 or whatever, is that it'll have to be on August the 11th, which of course is Tuesday. And then if there's more than 4 people running, the likelihood is there's automatically going to be a runoff for it. So we're likely going to see two primary and a runoff for the replacement of Lindsey Graham on the ticket, which is causing havoc. I mean, like, it is the amount of running around and setting up that they're going to have to do, because for the most part, as far as the election commissions go, it was set. November's it. And then we don't have to worry about this for another year and a half, 2 years or whatever. And that's not the case, so they're gearing up to, every single county in the state of South Carolina is now having to gear up to open up precincts across the state again for a primary. And it costs the state a considerable amount of money to do these. So What would be really great is the Republican Party just coalesced around one person, and then there didn't have to be a runoff. Maybe just have one person on the ticket. And you're right. I think Haley is going to be likely a candidate. I think that Pamela Ebbett could stand up and decide that this is the office that she wants to run for. Ralph Norman, for sure. I think you have to throw in some of the names from the previous primaries as well. I think the likelihood is we're going to see anywhere between 5 and 9 candidates on the ballot for this Senate seat. Yeah. And as far as the outcome for Annie Andrews versus insert name here, Annie Andrews was already picking up a lot of steam. Like, she was within striking distance on the poly market before Graham passed. And ultimately, the effect so far has been, it has put her over the top. So it really is leaning in the direction of Annie Andrews, especially with the fact that no one has any idea there's no one in that list that I can look at and be like, that's a winner. Maybe Haley. She's
the one, given her experience, that probably rises to the top. She has name recognition. She certainly has the resume to be a U.S. Senator. There's no question about that. The question is, has she pissed off Trump and the base enough that they won't come out and support her? And if she were to win, could he because Trump does stupid things, it seems like, for the sake of doing stupid things. And could he cut off his nose to spite his face and just say, you know what? I don't want her. I'll take the other person. Stay home. You know,
Yeah.
to hell with Nikki Haley. Don't vote for her. Don't give her any money. She stabbed me in the back. She's not MAGA or whatever however he wants to frame it. And because it almost feels like, and of course it would be awful if she did a complete about face, if she were to run and win and win. And that would just be like the ultimate slap in the face, because you've kind of stood up and you've shown us that you have a backbone, which is, why you were asked to leave, and, you haven't been welcomed back to the administration. It would be interesting to see that if she were elected in November, if she were to win the primary, and you're right, there more than likely will be a runoff. Statistically, it's almost impossible to not be one. And the amount of money that's going to be spent, oh man, woof.
And how quickly it's going to be spent.
Oh, it's going to be spent over the course of like a month.
I have to believe that every commercial between August 9th and November 2nd is going to be nothing but that particular campaign. Like, it's going to be that candidate just over and over and over on the local stations. That's all it's going to be. Not excited about that.
Well, you just popped something into my head that I hadn't thought about, because we buy advertising during this time period for Comic-Con.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, social media, obviously, it doesn't impact that, and digital also, but we buy linear, and we could get bumped. Like, yeah, that could really screw some things up. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Oh well, if it does, it does. We'll manage.
I have to imagine that we're going to wind up having a funeral probably here in Columbia for Lindsey Graham. That he'll lie in state and take probably the state house. They'll take visitors. He was a graduate of USC. He got a law degree from the University of South Carolina. So,
but he's a Greenville native. I would think that they would lay him to rest
potentially.
In Greenville.
Yeah,
but he could be buried. He could be buried at Fort Jackson, though.
He could also be buried at Arlington. So, it's entirely possible that, but I have a feeling, just because his family is from the upstate, that they've been here for, I don't know, 200 years or so, that the likelihood is they probably have a family plot that he might be buried at. But I think that I've already seen a few notes that have mentioned that there will be plans later this week to have him potentially lying in state, that they're working that out with the state house. So, that'll be an opportunity for people to come and pay their respects, or, dress in drag. I'm not throwing out any ideas, but, there were always, I will not shade over the fact that there were always rumors.
Well, they're slowly coming out.
Yeah. There were rumors about Lindsey Graham's sexuality, and that his hardline oppression of the LGBTQ plus community came from his denial of what his life was what was really going on. And one of the things that and it was just last year that there were people that were willing to tell their stories being aides to him. And my big question, and I think a lot of people are asking this question, is if he suffered this massive coronary event, who called 911? Someone had to, because as painful as the event that he experienced, I'm not entirely certain that he would have been of the ability to make that phone call. And what he does in his private life is none of my business, but his just egregious behavior towards people that he potentially had similar lifestyles with is one of the things I think that bothers me the most about his persona, and the fact that that just straight out bothers me that he lived that life. I mean, it's like Strom Thurmond. Strom Thurmond was a Dixiecrat who cheered segregation, who cheered on trying to dismantle the Civil Rights Act during his time, and then you come to find out he had a black woman that he had an affair with, and then he had a black child, and he's got black grandchildren, and it's like, why did you have to be such a piece of shit? You could have just been normal.
Yeah.
You know.
Hypocrisy knows no race, no age, no gender, no socioeconomic status. It just for all the good things that Lindsey Graham did, there will always be a little asterisk with questions. And we were talking about this earlier. Like I think more and more of these accusations, alleged encounters, whatever, because that's just kind of what they're going to be. Because it's a he said. No, there. Well, yes, to make the joke, he said, but the other he said is not around to respond, so you just don't know. So,
right,
if rumors are that all these NDAs exist, and if those ever saw the light of day, well, that might actually change things, which would be very interesting. But
that would be my question: does an NDA still apply between two parties if one of the parties is no longer?
I would assume it would be based on the language in the NDA. I would think not. I would think they would become null and void, but because the other party can't suffer any damage. It's all about damage, right? And threatening to inflict massive amounts of pain, financial, on the counterparty that has signed that agreement. And so if there's no one that you can damage, i.e. that the one party is deceased, then I would think that the other party would have the right to speak about it all they want. Can they produce any sort of documentation to back up their claim? No. But the absence of evidence isn't the evidence of absence. So,
right. But can they write a book? Can they write a book and sell it?
Well, anybody can write a book. Yeah. Well, if ever there was a time to start writing your books and getting your book deals lined up, now's the time. Strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah, I also want to say this: when I die, if there's not an asterisk next to my name, I'm going to be disappointed.
You haven't lived your life the right way if you don't have that asterisk. Yeah,
that's going to be the title of this one. Make sure you get an asterisk next to your name.
No, that'll be the name of your book. Asterisk will be the name of your book.
That's right.
The Barrett Gruber story.
I think that would be terrific. Hey, the World Cup is coming to an end. I was surprised. Norway.
No.
That was disappointing. I was really pulling for my future home. Fingers crossed. But that was surprising.
It's funny you say that because I think the Norwegian team and the Norwegian fans coming to the U.S., they kind of really won the hearts and souls of the soccer community because Norway clearly outperformed. They punched well above their weight. Nobody expected them to be there. They lost to a good England squad, but England wasn't unbeatable. Norway had every opportunity to win that game, and they just made a couple of boo-boos, and Jude Bellingham became, the poster child for breakout star in this year's World Cup. Looking forward to them taking on Argentina. Argentina. They're in Atlanta. I think it's on Thursday. Yeah, and France, Spain, going to be an incredible game. I think it's Wednesday. But yeah, I mean, I think I was listening to the commentary after the end of the Argentinian game, where who'd they beat? They beat somebody 3-0. It wasn't much of a game, but doesn't matter. They said the commentators were saying that this is the first time in any World Cup where the top 4 ranked teams all made it to the semifinal. So you've got 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3. So, we've got a first here too. And so, the next 2 matches should be incredible. And Sunday wraps up in New York City at, MetLife in the Meadowlands. So, Sunday afternoon, we'll just, probably a third of the country and half the world will be tuned in to watch that match.
Oh, absolutely.
So, it's super exciting. It really is. It's very exciting. It's been a great tournament.
Yeah. Argentina beat Switzerland. That was that was a pretty good game.
Yeah. Switzerland. Yeah. The Swiss was 3-1. I take that back. They did score. The Swiss got a very questionable call when that guy got sent off with his second yellow and it turned into a red card. There's a lot of people questioning, should that have been risen to the level of a send-off? And I watched it a couple of times. My opinion was no. Again, soccer fan every 4 years, know enough to be dangerous, but not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. But it's kind of one of those, you're playing for the spot in the semifinals. You're tied up at 1 against arguably the best team in the country. I think it was 1-1 at the time. And you send a guy off and you just handicap them for the rest of the game. And a team like Argentina or Spain or France, they are going to punish you when that happens. You're going to have no offense. You might get a counterattack here and there, but you run into a problem that if you do counterattack and then you get, you win a corner kick or something like that, the minute it comes out, the other team's off to the races, and then you've got a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-2 scenario, and they're going to score.
Yeah.
So, it really was unfortunate. It didn't, in my opinion, warrant the second yellow card to send the guy off to put him down to 10 men, because you've basically, you've kneecapped him at that point. And last time I checked, you need 2 good knees to play soccer.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'll ask you this before we wrap it up, but so France and Spain play tomorrow, 3:00.
It's tomorrow. Okay.
So who do you have between France and Spain? Yeah, it's tough because France always seems to make a pretty good showing in the World Cup. Like, they do well. Spain has got some outstanding players. I don't know any of their names, but having watched 2 of the matches with Spain, very talented team. So
there hasn't been a game lately. Ignore the knockout, ignore the group play, and I think the first round of the knockout stage. But I don't think there's been penalties yet for a major game. I see that game going to penalties. I think there'll be 1-1. They'll go through extra time. It goes to penalties, and at that point, I think it's a coin flip. Let's just give the edge to France. They win 3-2 in penalties.
I was going to pick France as well.
Give them the edge, slight edge.
England and Argentina will play before us getting back together on Wednesday at 3:00.
Yeah.
So
I'll be watching that.
That is a tough one because I want to pull for England, but I think Argentina's got. I think Argentina's got the edge.
Argentina showed on, I believe it was Sunday night. Yeah, it was Sunday night when they played. Yeah, because the England-Norway game was before that. 2 games on Sunday. Argentina showed the world that they can win without Messi scoring.
Yeah,
that makes them a very dangerous team. However, England is playing probably some of the best soccer they've played since they won the damn thing in '66, I think it was. And so I'm going to go out on a ledge here and say that England shocks the world and makes it to the final.
Okay.
England-France final, which...
It's Napoleonic Wars all over again. Yeah. All right. Well, between England and France, I guess, who are you going to call?
My heart says England, but the smart money says France.
Well, because I picked Argentina and France, I'm gonna go with Argentina to win it out. So
okay, well, we'll see.
That'll be my picks. All right. Well,
tell you what. I'll take. You got Argentina to win the whole thing. I'll take France to win the whole thing. And if you're right, I'll buy the pizza at Black Dog. If I'm right, you buy the pizza. If we're wrong, we have to find somebody else to come and buy our dinner.
John.
We'll get John.
John should absolutely
buy our dinner. We'll get John.
All right.
Yeah, John shows up and buys dinner.
Yeah, and shout out to Black Dog Pizza on Main Street in Columbia, South Carolina. Fantastic pizza.
Yeah.
Fantastic pizza.
I'll have to shoot him a text and tell him that we've got a bet going that if we both lose, he loses too. So he'll love that.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, that pizza's great. It really is.
We should just make John the loser all the time. That would be my preference.
What's funny is I don't think he would object.
I don't think he would either. But yeah, Black Dog Pizza, Main Street, just underneath Hendrix, on the Main Street level. It's excellent pizza, excellent
really
vibe
good.
too. They did such a good job building that place out.
They did.
And as well, I'll give them a shout out for No Name Deli over there in Columbia too. Their new location is fantastic.
Yeah.
The parking, there's plenty of parking, which is great. And the 2 times now I've been in there in the since they reopened, the line is still unbelievably long.
Yeah.
Very popular.
I was actually going to say that the most annoying thing about No Name Deli is that it takes you 15 to 20 minutes to get there and stand in line and order your food. But I will say the nostalgia factor of going through No Name Deli like an old school cafeteria where you get the tray and it slides down on the 3 metal bars and they hand you the food over the thing. Like that's fantastic. I love that nostalgia. And you got all the ingredients there. It's like being backtracked to high school or middle school where you got your little tray and you got your little pint of milk and you went down the line. Yeah.
Yeah, and don't forget your utensils or your napkins or anything like that, because if you have to go back in there to ask for them or whatever, you're gonna get yelled at. It's happened twice now, so it's fine.
They'll live.
I like a little abuse. That's what it's about. All right, that is on that bombshell. I guess we'll wrap it up. Brock, thanks for being here tonight. Appreciate it as always. Make sure to check out SodaCityComicCon.com for tickets and guest announcements. I guess, we've got all the announcements right now, but there may be something looming. But pay attention to the website because there is ticket information. You can see where all the venues or the vendors are going to be located.
Yep.
And I guess scheduling is going to be coming out soon as far as panels. So that'll be very cool. Look forward to that. And
I bet you do, because they'll be looking for you because you're going to be the host of at least a couple panels.
I'm excited about that. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I get to finally bring some of my entertaining to your state. Well, I did it once before, I guess.
Yeah, we'll throw you a bone though. We'll throw you a bone with maybe RoboCop. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
We'll
like I've told you before, whatever you need, I'm more than happy to do it. So
cool. Awesome.
All right. It's going to wrap it up for this episode. Big thanks for everybody watching. Thanks for listening. Don't forget, you can follow Brock and all the Soda City Comic Cons. Go to SodaCityComicCon.com for links to all of their social media. You can follow me at Barrett Gruber. Thanks for liking and hitting that bell. And if you can, please give us a 5-star review and leave a comment. Until next time, you all stay safe, be kind, and
keep your hands to yourself.
The preceding podcast is solely owned by the host or hosts and is distributed by Big Media, LLC. Copyright 2026. Well, you've made it to the end. You survived the rambling, the tangents, and whatever nonsense we just subjected your ears to. Congratulations. Now that your brain is sufficiently scrambled, how about doing something productive for democracy? Before you go off to forget everything you just heard, do yourself a favor and double-check that your voter registration is actually legit at theallaboutnothing.com/voter. It's about the only way to make sure your vote counts, even if your taste in podcasts is questionable.